Our next storyteller, Jeff Frenster. Yeah, give it up for Jeff. He comes from a family of friendly and eloquent talkers. I think some of you know that. And because of this, because of his family legacy, he's often the go-to person for many unpleasant tasks. Please give it up for Jeff and his story, Shatakhos, which means Chatterbox in Armenian.
Good evening, everyone. Boy, first of all, what a great bunch of stories so far. I just want to caveat that. Got to lower the expectation. No, I'm sure you'll do great, Kat. But wow, that was awkward. For a minute there, I thought I was going to be the last storyteller, so it's not really appropriate this way. But I'm sure you'll do great, Kat. No pressure. So one of the things that I want to get out of the way right up front with you guys, because I'm a straight shooter, is I love to talk, okay? My colleagues who are here today can certainly attest for that. Yeah, give me a hallelujah back there. But it's not a new thing for me. It goes way back to my early childhood. You see, when I was 3 years old, my maternal grandmother, who was from Armenia, gave me the nickname of Shatakhos, which, as Will explained, means chatterbox. Or I think the literal translation is much talking. Over the years, I learned that this was because whenever we went to visit friends and relatives, as soon as the front door opened, I would march in unhesitantly and start talking to whoever would listen, and I wouldn't stop. That's the key to it. Also, when I was growing up, my father was a huge influence. He was a noted oncologist and clinical researcher, and he had a very outgoing demeanor, great bedside manner and everything. My sisters and I, one of our nicknames for him when we were happy with him was Jovial John. We had other nicknames, but I'm not going to disclose those here tonight. But it really got into my blood about interacting, being naturally curious about people, and feeling comfortable. I got into the work environment, and maybe some of you have had a similar experience. Certain things just kind of happen or stick to you accidentally, much like an actor getting typecast or something. I found myself in a series of predicaments, and somehow was kind of a verbal Houdini and managed to escape from some pretty awkward situations. So before long, I had developed a reputation, whether I wanted it or not, as kind of a go-to person for any situation that was likely to be thorny. So it was great for other people. It worked out great. Super stressful for me all the time because I was pretty much maxing out on adrenaline 24/7. So let's now go to January of 2007. I'm at the company that I'm currently with, and I'm the head of HR for this firm, and I'm pretty new still. So probably, like many of you, being the new kid on the block, I really wanted to demonstrate unequivocally that I was a good teammate. So that means that you get all the tasks that no one else wants to do. And it wasn't about rank, it was more just volunteering to help other people. So my friends in finance and accounting, on this particular January day, had a real doozy for me. It was to place a call to the Employment Development Department. Now you're wondering why I'm specifying the name. It's because I'm contractually obligated to. They're my sponsor tonight. I'm part of a top secret program to see if people can be placed in the public arts and be able to demonstrate potential in that area. So I'm kind of a guinea pig for that tonight. You can be sure to let me know afterwards how that works out, or better yet, just get in touch with the EDD. So when you think of the EDD, it's best to think of kind of the DMV on steroids, right? I mean, this huge monolithic organization determined above all else to do the minimal amount of interaction with you and to put up this fortress of a voicemail system to try to kind of guard the castle keep, if you will. So I had the form for this recently terminated employee, And I had all the information from my friends in finance and accounting, so I go sit down in my office. And I'm not really scared per se, because like I said, I've been through a number of really tough situations, but honestly, I'm kind of dreading it. I'm berating myself for being such a good teammate, because this is, within the scope of our firm, one of the least pleasant things you can do is to spend an indeterminate amount of time on the phone. Who knows how long I'm going to have to wait? Am I going to get someone who is openly antagonistic when I do speak to someone? That's a very real possibility. So I call up, this very monolithic sounding voice comes on, a bunch of options that I can't make head or tail of. Somehow, I don't know if I was equivalent to playing darts with my finger or whatever. I hit a couple different things, managed to get to something that sounded remotely like why I was calling. Voice came on periodically and said, your call will be answered shortly. And I'm like, yeah, right. Shortly, maybe by sunup tomorrow. So one of the other things that's important to know about me, two other factors, is whenever I'm in an uncomfortable situation, kind of my fallback is to use humor to diffuse the situation. So that's like an instinctual tendency to me. And the other one, a little bit less positive, is that I have the attention span of a gnat. I was really relieved when Will said there's an absolute 10-minute time limit, because I think with a little bit of luck I'll be able to stick with this story through 10 minutes, but that's about all I'm good for. So I'm on hold, listening. There's absolutely no sound except her voice periodically coming on and giving this same unhelpful message, and my mind's drifting all over the place. And then finally, a human voice comes on the other line, on the other end of the line, identifies herself as Mrs. Wilson. And my reaction is like a man who's been wandering in the desert and comes upon an oasis. Like, wow, another living life form is on the phone with me. So I snap right back into hyper-focus, and we get started. Now, this may, to the uninitiated, seem like a chaotic process, but it's actually a finely choreographed dance, and I was very relieved to have drawn Mrs. Wilson, because from her demeanor and the way that she started out, it seemed clear that she was an expert at leading us through this dance. She asked me my name, pretty basic, like a faux friendly type thing, not that she cared what my name was, but, and then the reason for my call. And I said, yeah, I'm calling on behalf of my firm for concerning a recently departed employee. We need to talk about some of the details surrounding their departure. So we start going. I've used up my maximum 5 minutes of focus. My mind starts drifting. I'm kind of answering the questions on autopilot right now. I'm channeling The Breakfast Club. If you guys know that film, they're all stuck in the library. Mrs. Wilson was very polite, very professional, but I couldn't shake the feeling that, much like myself, neither of us really wanted to be on the call. This is someone who does this 100 times or more per week, and let's just get through this. So I'm out there, I'm a space cadet, not, like half listening, maybe quarter listening. And then something pulls my attention back. She says, very matter-of-factly, probably like the 10th or 11th question line on this form, it's a 2-page form. She says, very matter-of-factly, as if she was discussing the weather, so the employee is deceased? That got my focus. I'm like, how the hell did she feel that the employee is deceased? What could I have said? Did I say something like while I was tuned out that would make her think that? Like time slowed down. It was like bullet time, in the Matrix. Like, what does one say when someone says something so out of the blue? I mean, I was completely flummoxed. I'm thinking, and then something came to my mind. Really only one thing, so I was fortunate at least to get the one thing. I take that. Beggars can't be choosers, right? So I had one thing that I can say to this lady right now. So I said to her, Mrs. Wilson, when I said recently departed employee, I didn't mean dearly departed employee. And this stoic, professional, monotone state employee completely lost her shit on the phone. I mean, I'm talking like fell apart. Okay? I decided, well, why not just give her a little extra shove over the precipice? And I said, yes, actually, Mrs. Wilson, we have an extremely effective termination program here at the firm. And even standing here today, genuinely, it's a puzzle to me. Like, where the hell did that come from? I certainly, nothing in the conversation gave me permission to say something like that. I was not conscious of it. It just, even to this day, it remains one of these mysteries. But it radically changed everything. All of a sudden, she was very, very human. We built this instant connection in the middle of an incredibly dry and bureaucratic conversation. We went and finished the rest of the points, and then the very last question that they always ask to complete their form is, well, what's your role at the firm? Okay, and so another characteristic of mine is that anyone that engages in a humorous dialogue with me is my new best friend, right? So my colleagues know that. Sometimes the people don't even have to laugh, but I'm easy. It's not a requirement. You don't have to laugh at it. And so I thought, well, okay, she's now in the friend category. She may not know this, but she's in the friend category, so I'm going to have a little bit more fun. And I said to her very cheekily, I said, well, Mrs. Wilson, when I'm not doing stand-up, I'm the head of HR at the firm. And she replied, without missing a beat, well, you're really good at both. So I thought, okay, give an inch, take a mile, let's push it a little further. And I said, well, Mrs. Wilson, while I have you on the line, I have a question for you. And she said, sure. And I said, if I had to choose one, which do you think that I should do? Okay, just put it out there. And she said, with no hesitation, oh, you should definitely do stand-up. And I said, okay, thank you very much. If you someday see me on Last Comic Standing, then you can tell your friends that you talked to that guy on the phone. So in closing, I would like to offer a very heartfelt thanks to you, Mrs. Wilson, wherever you are this evening, not just for a great connection that day, but a more profound gift to me, because our conversation, and specifically your encouragement, gave me the courage to share my love for comedy and to perform in public, and it played no small role in me being up here tonight. So, thank you very much.